Hey guys, welcome to the live cap. It's Wednesday and we've got a great show planned for you today. We're talking a lot of NFL, a little bit of baseball, and we might just have a special surprise guest. With me, as always, I've got Nick Parsons from the Insiders Room. Hey Nick, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. I'm just checking our connections here quickly. I believe we are completely online here, but yes, we are totally online. Sorry, that's what happens when you're doing a live stream show, but we're here, we're rocking. It's
All
live
right.
cap. It's our new time. And yeah, we might have a guest capper joining us shortly, Allie.
That would be excellent. I love when we have a guest, another opinion on the show. It's just more information for our viewers to absorb, another angle to listen to.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to our show. Last night, I gave out a couple of winners on one of our recorded pieces there with Chelsea. And so I know that we've also been giving out lots of winners on this show, and so I'm ready to do that now. We're going to be talking some NFL today, and then on Friday, we're going to be welcoming Dan Kaiser, the professor. We're going to be talking college football then, and then, of course, on Saturday, we have Total Chaos with Kurt Alexander, and so that looking forward to all of these different shows, ready to rock and roll for sure.
It was a really good Total Chaos. I'm telling you, people at home, you should follow our consensus picks because we are crushing some NFL totals right now. But I'm not alert anything, so you have to stick around or check us out on Saturday at the 1 p.m. Eastern show to get all the gossip on that and all those free picks. So I've got a couple of NFL games that we could go over today. I was looking at the Jets and the Dolphins, the Bears and the Panthers, Falcons, Vikings, and Cardinals and Cowboys. A lot of funny things have been happening with all of those teams. So I figured maybe we should break them on down and see what we can come up with today.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't officially have any picks out yet on the Sunday board there. I'm just sort of, I'm going to wait a little bit till a little bit later in the week. And so I have looked closely at all of these games. My mind isn't set in stone yet or concrete or whatever at this point. I'm open to sort of trying to figure these ones out with you and with possibly our guest capper if he does show up.
TikTok. Okay. Jets at the Dolphins. The big news here is that Flacco is now the quarterback of the Jets, right? That's a fact. That's for real. Darnold's out.
That is 100% fact. Joe Flacco is getting the start here.
Okay. I don't know how much better he's going to be than Darnold, but I mean, you got to try something, I guess. So that's what they're going with. And they're going to be playing the Dolphins. Fitzmagic is around. Now, this line, I saw it at 8.5 when I did my notes 2 nights ago. And then when I checked it today, it was all the way up to 10. So Dolphins minus 10 is the spread here, and the total is 47.5. So what do you think about this? I kind of feel like it might be an overreaction to how the Dolphins played last week. What do you think?
This is hard. These are the bottom feeders in the AFC East. New York is 0-5. It just let star running back Le'Veon Bell go.
Yeah.
An early injury to Bell, and then along with several others, that is a big reason why the Jets are where they are right now, obviously. And the Dolphins, they come off that big win last week. They crushed... who did they crush? They crushed the 49ers, correct?
Yeah, 43-17.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a really depleted 49ers team at the same time,
That's true. And, Miami has done, traditionally in the past, Miami has done better as an underdog. So it sort of surprises superior teams. It hasn't done well as playing the role of favorite, especially the role of a big favorite, especially at home. Let me bring up the stats here. Yeah, it's just 21, 46-1 against the spread in its last 68 games as a home favorite. But I think that the circumstances are a little different now. Miami has its bye week next week. New York New York, I mean, is similar to San Francisco in that, yeah, these are two teams that were completely depleted. San Francisco was completely depleted. New York is completely depleted here. And so, yeah, I think, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he once again looked decent last week. So
I'm just not sold on. I don't get what the Fitz magic is. Like, why is that his name? I don't get it. Is it because he looks like a leprechaun? Like, I don't get it. Like, he's
Right.
not magic to me.
Okay, maybe it was a couple of fourth quarter comebacks or something.
All right, that would make sense, I guess.
So Rye is saying, he's sort of agreeing with me here. Rye is saying Dolphins will roll this team just like every other team does. Yeah, I mean, what I will point out here, Miami, it's 5-2 against the spread in its last 7 at home. It's also 4-0-1 against the spread its last 5 in this series. So, yeah, I mean, New York is getting healthier. It's going to have great opportunities. I think there will be great opportunities to back New York against these inflated numbers as the season wears on. But I think, I'm not expecting a giant leap in performance this week. And one thing is that Miami isn't going to take the foot off the gas in the second half. It can't take anything for granted. It can't take any team for granted here. And especially it has a chance to overtake New England in the standings. If it wins here and New England loses, it would be then in second place in the division.
Right.
Yeah.
So they've got some motivation. They've got something to play for here.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jets, they're banged up offensively right now, but their defense, it's just been terrible this season this well. In their 5 losses, they've allowed 27, 31, 36, 37, and 30 points. Now, Miami, it lost 21-11 in New England in week 1, but since then, it's combined to score 125 points over its last 4 games. And in that same period, it's allowed just 92. So, yeah, I mean, it has its bye week next week. It has a chance to move to second in the division. It's won 2 of its last 3 games. The only loss in that time period came against Seattle at home, and that was still a competitive game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Miami can smell the blood in the water. I think it has a chance to duplicate last week's big offensive performance. And so, yeah, I would even sort of go towards the over in this one. It's 47. And so I sort of would also lean to the over on this one. None of these are official, but my early leans is Miami and the over in this one.
All right. So you're saying you like Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't in my right mind put money on the Jets right now. Even getting 10 points, it just still, they got beat by 20 by the Cardinals. I think that the Dolphins are better than the Cardinals. So, I mean, there you go. But I was kind of looking at it more of an under because clearly the Jets can't score. And the Dolphins are only allowing about 22, 23 points a game. So I was
That's
kind of
a good point as well.
More to go under because I do really like the Dolphins defense this year. But yeah, that's just my lean on it. I'll give an official pick at Total Chaos this Saturday morning.
That will be great. And I'll be interested to hear which way you end up going.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. New York is struggling to score, and I don't know if Flacco is an upgrade at all. Obviously, it's not. So
How do you put yourself in a situation where your number 1 and your number 2 are Sam Darnold and Joe Flacco? Like, how do you as a team get yourself in that situation? Like, I don't get it. I don't know.
No. I guess they expected Sam Darnold to have a little bit, he's had the offensive line was banged up, so many other injuries to his receivers and running backs and different things. So it was a snowball effect that has got to this point for them. But yeah, and so I do agree with you when I do think more about that. As I said, none of my opinions or thoughts on any of these things were set in stone, and I was hoping that you and I could sort of work through these things and sort of figure these out. And so, yeah, I'm sort of coming around to that, to what you're putting down there for sure.
That's what we do here. We talk it out. We just talk it on out. Okay, so the next one I have is the Bears at the Panthers. Panthers are the favorite, -2.5. The total is 44.5. Bears are 4-1 I mean, they just beat the Bucks. The Bears are like this little success story that I don't think in my like football.
Hey, Allie, sorry, just 1 second here. Our guest handicapper has shown up here. Why don't we bring him on right now?
Yay!
Here he
Welcome,
is.
Craig Trapp, to the show. Craig, TikTok man, TikTok.
No, I wanted to let you guys get going a little bit. You know, I wanted to build the excitement up, and then boom, big
Nice.
close.
Here.
Thanks for joining us, Craig.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We were just about to get in. It was good timing. We are going to talk some Bears and Panthers. And we were saying the Panthers were -2.5. The total is 44.5. And yeah, so why don't we'll just digress right to you. What do you think about this matchup just off the top of your head?
Well, it's kind of fishy that they did let this number drop. You know, from that original open of 3 to 2.5. I kind of thought the Bears would get a lot of play at that number and force it back to the 3 number because, let's be honest, the Bears beat Tom Brady, the GOAT. Yeah, so, I mean, but Nick Foles has made a habit of beating Tom Brady in big games, so I guess that should be expected. But we haven't seen that action come in. So I was on the Panthers at 3. I think at 2.5, I think it's even better. I just think it's a tough spot for Chicago because Chicago faced a Bucs team that was, you know, Mike Evans was iffy at best. He had no explosion, couldn't get open. Gronk at this point of his career couldn't get open. I think it was Godwin was out. I mean, his basically top 4 targets, only 2 of them played, and those 2 aren't guys that create big separation. So to me, I think this Bears defense is good, but I like the offense a lot better. Teddy Bridgewater is way underrated. Way underrated.
I totally agree with you on this one.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Go ahead.
So there you go. The 3 of us are all lining up on this one. I don't think that happens all the time or anything. But yeah, Carolina started the season 0-2. It's now won 3 straight. Chicago last week, it was held to just 35 rushing yards last week. I mean, it's a really sort of one-dimensional offense, really. Foles was sacked 3 times. But yeah, the Bears have been good defensively. They rank 4th, just 20 points per game. But yeah, as Craig pointed out there, Bridgewater has just been completely rolling. You know, Carolina's averaging 24.4 points per game. It's allowing 23.6. Hey, I would say that if the Chargers are the best 1-4 team in the NFL right now, then the Bears are definitely the worst 4-1 team right now, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that Carolina continued to build off its recent momentum, and so I definitely am leaning that way as well. Well,
Nick, when you think about it, sometimes I think stats when you're only 4 or 5, even 6 games in, can be more skewed because it's who you played.
Yes.
You know, I mean, did you play really good offenses? Did you play Kansas City? If you played Kansas City, your defense probably gave up some points. You know, the Bills have been scoring a bunch of points on people. So it's just a matter of who you faced. The stats now after about week 8, 9, 10 of the NFL, then I say, okay, the stats don't lie.
Right.
They say the back of your baseball card doesn't lie for baseball hitters. Same thing for after about 8, 9, 10 weeks of the NFL. But especially with this shortened season, I mean, we saw it last night. Tennessee basically didn't practice for 10 days, and they come out and at home as an underdog just absolutely dismantled an undefeated Bills team. So you got to be careful because the Bills were undefeated and everybody was on the Super Bowl bandwagon. Well, I don't know if you're finding a whole lot of outside of Buffalo, finding any Super Bowl predictions out of Buffalo after last night.
Well, speaking of the Bills, I feel kind of like the Bears are in the same spot as they are, that everyone's really high on them. They're doing well, but they've got to have that moment where the wheels fall off. And like, I just had that feeling that everyone was so high on the Bills that the Titans were just going to be the play. They were just due for a crash. And I feel like the Bears were kind of like due for a crash. I don't see them like going on and on, but Teddy Bridgewater, like, how can you not root for that guy? You know, he had like what could have been a career-ending injury. And like, here he is back rocking and rolling, winning 3 games in a row. Like, how can you not jump on the Bridgewater bandwagon right now? Yeah. He's awesome.
Hey, Dak Prescott should be like you know what? If Teddy Bridgewater could do it, because Teddy Bridgewater's injury was way worse. Alex Smith
Yeah.
was way worse. Both of these
And
guys.
he was way older too,
Right.
isn't he? Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, Dak is going to be just fine. I mean, he basically had very similar injury to what Gordon Hayward had. We've seen what he did this year in the bubble. He was very good once he came back from his injury.
Yeah, 7 years after he got that injury. I mean, I feel like the last time I saw him play, he was at Butler. Like seriously, or he broke his ankle.
He was he missed the whole season because that happened in game one. So that's why it seemed like he missed so much. He only missed one season, but he missed, and literally happened in game one. And of course, the Celtics covered in that game. I might want to add as underdog against LeBron and company. But I think when you look at early season, you have to be careful. Nick Foles is obviously in big games. I don't know. I mean, they call him Big Dick Nick for a reason. I mean, the guy has ice water in his veins. But when you face the Carolina Panthers at Carolina, it's not the end all be all game. We might not get that Big Dick Nick. That's usually when he doesn't come up big, is when it's those games during that nobody's really paying attention to.
Rycape over in YouTube chat here, he's saying, I like roll. Carolina should be able to move the ball on this Chicago defense. Parlay King is saying, what's up, guys? And so, Rycape once again, I think we got a major consensus on Carolina here.
Well, the one thing I would worry about Carolina, obviously, running back McCaffrey's out. I mean, that's
right.
That's true.
It is really about their passing game at this point in the career. It's funny that Cam Newton leaves because they had no weapons, and then Bridgewater comes in and he's done pretty good with not a whole lot of weapons on offense. They definitely don't. It's not the cupboard was left with 10 All-Stars or anything. I mean, Carolina's doing it with a lot less, and I was kind of expecting a down year for Carolina. I mean, when you lose Ron Rivera, which they didn't call him Riverboat Ron for nothing. I mean, the guy always went for it. He seemed like he got a lot out of his team. And then I thought maybe they would have a fallback, but they definitely have not.
Yeah, Mike Davis, I mean, he was decent in relief last week. He had 89 yards on the ground. And the Panthers outgained the Falcons 437 to 369. So, and Bridgewater, as you say, he's – and then the defense
I think he got a lot from Drew Brees, by the way. When you go play for a guy like Drew Brees that teaches you how to learn, what are you looking at? And Sean Payton is a great offensive mind. So I think sometimes, and I think I wish more players in the NFL would do this. It's like sometimes you lose the spot, you get beat out because of injury or something. Go play for a really good team, be the backup, do really well, and then guess what? Boom, you're going to get your opportunity like we've seen Bridgewater do, and now he's making the most of it.
Right. So impressive. Love a good comeback story too, right?
Yep. Well, I mean, if he's not the comeback player of the year, I don't know who would be.
Yeah, that's just it. All right, so let's move on. We're going to go to another game. Let's talk the Falcons at the Vikings. The Vikings are the favorite. I've got -3.5. The total is 55. This is kind of just another one of those bottom of the barrels. Falcons are 0-5. The Vikings are 1-4. I mean, these sometimes are the hardest games for me to handicap because you really are expecting someone to do better and zig and zag. I mean, someone's got to win, right, at the end of the day. So, can the Falcons really go 0-6? And that kind of stuff kind of gets in my head sometimes. So how are you approaching this game?
What do you think, Craig?
Well, I mean, Atlanta, it was like, okay, how many weeks were they going to let Dan Quinn go before, what before they fire him? I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for, because once you go 0-5, season's over.
Yeah,
season's over. I was surprised after the collapse at Dallas. I was like, okay, they're definitely firing him. Okay, they come back. Chicago, same at home this time. You lose. Don't fire him. It's like, what are you waiting for? So to me, Atlanta needed a change. They got a change, but the problem is this week it sounds like Julio Jones is going to be out again. So they're not going to have all their weapons. And to me, I think it's you have to fade Atlanta until they prove it. I think you have to fade Atlanta. Just there's not a whole lot to play for. I mean, even the owner is coming out and saying, like, we don't even know if we're going to keep Matt Ryan at this point. It's like, listen, a lot of problems were out there since they lost that big lead at the halftime lead at the Super Bowl. I don't think Matt Ryan is the reason why you're struggling. He's a very good quarterback, top at least 20 quarterback in the league. At least as an owner, he should be saying, you know what, he's our guy. Even if that's not the truth. Sometimes as you're the leader and the owner would be the leader, you just say what you should say. And what he should have said was, Matt Ryan is our leader, and we're going to go down with the ship. And to me, say the opposite, I'm just going to fade Atlanta.
And that just proves your point there when we're talking about Teddy Bridgewater getting experience off of Drew Brees there. The same thing could be said of Matt Ryan, if any quarterback they brought in there in Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, Minnesota, it was a sort of a heartbreaking loss to Seattle there last week. They had a 13-0 halftime lead. They fell apart down the stretch. Cousins, I mean, obviously he has struggled this year. He has 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Dalvin Cook has been great. He has 7 touchdowns already.
I think he's out. Yeah, I think he's out.
Yeah, he's out this weekend, yeah. Madison, I mean, he filled in well for him last week. I forget, he had 112 rushing yards. The Vikes have struggled on defense this year. That's uncharacteristic, obviously, of teams in the past. But this unit, Minnesota catches a big break this year. It's facing this Atlanta team that's completely out of sync, out of sorts, that they don't know what's going on. And so, yeah, I mean, this feels like a must-win game for Minnesota, even at 1-4. I mean, they're not going to give up quite yet. And so I think this is a favorable matchup. And so that's my official play on this one, too. I do like Minnesota. I think they're going to bounce back here at home, and this is the matchup they've been waiting for.
Hey Allie, when you look at it, like, okay, you get Mike Zimmer versus anybody that the Falcons could put in there. And Mike Zimmer, he was one of those career assistants. He was at Dallas. He was here in Cincinnati. This is a guy that's well respected in the NFL. You get anybody against Dan Quinn's leftovers, I mean, it seems like everybody's going to be on. That's the one worry I have, is that everybody will probably be on Minnesota this week. And usually when everybody's on somebody, you probably want to be on the opposite side.
You got to be on the other side. Yeah, that's part of what makes these kind of games so difficult to handicap. I noticed Rye keeps saying, I'm not touching this game. I mean, like, I kind of have a thing about, like, if you have to pay me to watch it, I probably don't need to bet on it,
Well, but here's the thing, though. Sometimes the ugliest games, as an expert, I think are the easiest to pick, because if you have a clear cut opinion on a team, then I almost like sometimes the ugly game. The really, really big matchups sometimes can be the very toughest. Because,
they're the sharpest lines there.
Yeah, and I tell that to my friends all the time, that when I'm like talking about a parlay or they're setting up a parlay, I'm like, never have that primetime game as the last leg of your parlay, because that primetime game is there to wipe out all the parlays of the day. That's going to be the sharpest line, because everybody is going to be on it, and the odds makers are on top of that.
Yeah,
what do you?
I mean, if you think the line is off, let's be honest. The lines on Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, or any primetime college football, college basketball, Duke, name a big team, the Cowboys line, usually it's only going to be off if it's the public team.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, I just think not saying you can't win those. I mean, there's a lot of us that make our livings doing this, picking those games. And, I don't ever shy away from those. But sometimes the ugly games can be the easiest, at least to have an opinion on as an expert.
Well, speaking about ugly games here, we have the Cardinals and Cowboys next. Both teams have struggled at times. Dallas, though, is coming off that big win. We lost Dak Prescott there last week. That was a 37-34 win over the Giants. That was huge, obviously. And with that win, the 2-3 Cowboys are now first in the NFC East. What do you think, Allie, on this one? Have you had a chance to look at this one, or you didn't look at this one too closely?
No, I have I feel like enough of a gist of information. I am a fan of the Arizona Cardinals because I'm from Texas, and Cliff Kingsbury, their coach, used to be, I think, Texas Tech guy. And Kyler Murray, I know he went to Oklahoma, but he's actually born and raised in Texas. And DeAndre Hopkins, he used to play for the Texans. So I have this big freaking hard on for Texans playing in Arizona. And I know how like Texan pride and Texan grit, like all mush together and make you cover spreads and win. And so that's kind of my angle when it comes to the Cardinals. And it just so happens that they're playing in Texas. So, I mean, I did not see the Dak Prescott injury, thank goodness, because I would have barfed, I'm sure. And I still see Gordon Hayward's injury in my sleep. So, like, I'm so glad I didn't see that. I heard it was gruesome. And I remember Andy Dalton, right? He was a Bengal, wasn't he?
Yes,
don't remind me.
Absolutely.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I mean, you're like salt in the wound over here. Yes, he's one of those guys that regular season, let's remember, he's the only rookie to come in and make 4 straight playoffs. But guess what? Zero playoff wins. So, but last time I checked, this is a regular season game.
Yeah, is true. That's true. But I mean, it's his second game. Well, it's his first full game, right? And
he looked great, though.
I don't know. I think. Yeah, but they always do when they come in for that moment. It's like they're nothing to lose moment. It's like, coach, put me in. The guy finally went down. I'm going to get my shot. And no one's got a book and no one was prepared for him to play. And they come in. Look at Justin Herbert's first game against whoever.
Andy Dalton's been in the league for like 7-8 years, though. So the book
I know, but I'm just saying they weren't prepared in that moment to have plays ready for him.
I actually thought that
they will be, is what I'm saying.
But I thought the team just rallied around, the losing of Prescott. I mean, I think, you see that when injuries happen, rest of the guys step up. But that doesn't carry over, week after week after week. That wears off pretty quickly. And this Dallas defense, I mean, Seattle's defense is bad. Dallas is even worse. Dallas lost to them by what, 10, 8, whatever?
Rycape is agreeing with you here, Craig, in our chat. He thinks Arizona's going to cover it. The Cowboys defense is just awful.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Cowboys over in like everything I've played. Like that's the one thing I know about the Cowboys is their defense is a wet paper bag. Like that's what I know. But maybe Andy Dalton is like just what they need. I mean, nothing that they were doing was
working.
Tons
of weapons.
Nothing was working. So
hold on a second here. But
it's what they need.
Prescott would have been the MVP if they won those games because offensively he was putting up more yards than
coulda, woulda, shoulda. It wasn't. He didn't.
No, but I'm saying it wasn't because of him. It was not because of him. Their defense was bad. He put up plenty of points. They have probably the most weapons on offense. I mean, they have great receivers, solid tight end. I mean, Zeke Elliott. I mean, ever since they gave Zeke his money, it's like they quit giving him the ball. I think they're going to get back to giving him the ball. And I think because the easiest way to protect a bad defense, keep him off the field. You run the ball, you run the clock. I think that Zeke Elliott's the key here. It's one of those, if you like player props, I would probably be over on the number of carries and over on the number of yards for Zeke Elliott. That's probably one of the better
That's a great call.
Because if you're a coach, and McCarthy's he's a smart guy. I mean, he got to the Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. I mean, you don't get to be dumb coach to do that very rarely. And he won a lot when he was in Green Bay. Give the ball to your best player. Zeke Elliott is your best player. And he can do what you need to do, which is protect the defense.
Right. And he had 91 rushing yards last weekend, two touchdowns. Dallas is 0-5 against the spread at this point. I mean, obviously it's not going to go 0-16 against the spread this year. At some point, it's going to cover a spread. And so, I'm still on the fence on this one.
But the problem, Nick, don't you think when you face Dallas, it's like you always feel like they have to beat. I always think their line is basically 2 points off in every game, maybe even 3. Because
public perception.
They're such a public team, and their fans bet them no matter what. It's Notre Dame, it's Alabama, it's Ohio State, and they're the biggest name, maybe Pittsburgh in the NFL.
So they have to play against the perception as well.
Right. So even if you beat what should be the spread isn't that. It's 2 points off of that, and I think that's been the problem for years. If you're a Dallas bettor, but for me, it's the only year they were good against the spread was Dak's rookie year because everybody thought they weren't going to be any good because they had to go to a rookie quarterback, and then Dak had I think they were 12-4 against the spread that year or something crazy. Someone probably will have that in the chat, but it was really good. But since then, you have back to the same old thing.
Really good points.
You should call the Cowboys and tell them that breakdown that you gave me. I'm just saying.
Hey, listen, if they have to use my pump talk for that, I mean, I'm okay with it. Just give me a little credit. pump it right into the stands. I mean, heck, there's no fans, right? There's
Feed
no
Elliott. Feed Ezekiel.
And I hate Ezekiel Elliott. I hate Ohio State players. And if I'm telling you to give it, he's your best player, and to give it to him, I mean, it doesn't take a genius.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. What did Ohio State ever do to you?
Well, when you live in Cincinnati, in Ohio,
I'll give you
don't like Ohio State, it becomes like, well, not only do I not like them, now I hate them because it's like everybody, it's always about them. It's about them. Right. You know, I am literally, when you're in Cincinnati, you're halfway between Ohio State and Kentucky. So basketball season, you got Ohio State, and football season, you got Ohio State. Basketball season, you have Kentucky fans, and it's like, it's crazy. And then, you know, Indiana's only a couple hours away too. So when they're good at basketball, you get them too.
Country. Well, what are they? The Bearcats aren't bad at basketball themselves, but Nick Cronin left, huh? That's what happened.
Hey, whoa. That was the best thing that ever happened to us. Best thing ever.
I know.
He's shorter than you. He's shorter than you. I actually worked for Coach Huggins for 4 seasons while I was playing basketball in college, and I love Coach Huggins. My allegiance is not to Cincinnati, even though I've been a 45-year Bearcat fan. My allegiance is to Bob Huggins, and that's why I like the Mountaineers now for my basketball team.
All right, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. If Coach K went anywhere else, I'd follow him. You know,
if he leaves at, what is he, 80? He's
right.
He's only going to the grave at this point. He's not going to another team.
He's going to be buried at half court under that. You know,
they call it Coach K Court for a reason. They're going to just open it up in the mid court and just be like, put his casket right in.
Yeah.
Put it right back over.
Oh, Coach K, he's a class act.
You think that's real? That's his real hair?
Yeah, he's a Polish guy. Yeah, he's got great genetics.
And you think Rick Pitino has his regular hair too? Come on.
I don't think that's Pitino's hair. I don't think that's Pitino's hair.
They're both got implants and they dye it. They got to. You don't like.
Why? Well, who cares? What's it to you?
I'm like,
my coaches to look good. Okay.
Listen, I love the coaches that are like, you see him get old. It's like Coach K looks exactly like he did 30 years ago when Christian Laettner was there.
I can't think of who it is right now, but the coach who just looks like he just got out of like a Jimmy Buffett concert every time. Why can't I think of his name?
The best is Lute Olson because he was gray when he was like 40.
Yeah.
So he always looked the same, but you couldn't say he was dyeing his hair because he already had gray hair or white.
Yeah.
White. It was white, I guess.
Oh, I loved Lute, Arizona.
Yeah. Speaking of Big Ten next week, Big Ten.
Oh yes, that'll be great.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I think Friday night they have a Friday night. They're one of the Friday night games. I forget who's playing. Not one of the premier teams, of course, but still.
So break it down for me. Like, fill me in on a schedule. I know college basketball is coming in
late November.
UNLV has already texted us asking for our shirt sizes to do stats. So I know that's going to come. When is Mountain West start? Sunbelt goes this week, but Sunbelt's been going on, right?
Sunbelt's been going on because that's the game going tonight is Sunbelt.
Right.
They've started along. But so tonight, Big Ten is next Friday. Friday and Saturday, all of them are back. The MAC is the week after, I believe. It might be this coming week. And the MAC games, guess what? They mandatory played them midweek games the first week or two until November, and then so it has to be next week, I guess, that the MAC starts. And then the Mountain West and Pac-12 are, I believe, the first or second week of November. And then college basketball, November 25th. And from what I hear, the schedules are going to all be revamped. They're going to do some crazy stuff. And Vegas is going to be hosting a bunch of tournaments. Also, Orlando, where the NBA played, they're going to do a bunch of teams there. And not just like one. I mean, I'm talking like, and maybe even conference games. I heard that like the Mountain West especially, I heard, might go to Vegas and play like once a month and play like 4 games in 4 days just so that the travel is a little less. And because the cost of testing these players and all the coaches and all that is so expensive that if you go to a bubble format, I guess it's cheaper. Maybe the team, the sponsors are paying for it. I don't know.
I was wondering that, like, because aren't a lot of these universities doing like virtual or online learning anyway? So like, why couldn't they go do their distance learning in a bubble and give me a freaking ACC conference? You know, like give me something to bet on for a month or so.
I heard
what about that?
I heard
know?
Duke is actually going to do a tournament, or at least they're trying to, and same with Louisville. And Duke's tournament is going to be for a social justice and stuff. It's going to be like
Oh, I
all
love
that stuff. So yeah, Coach K, of course, being so involved with the Olympic movement, LeBron and all that, he's going to do that. And then I guess Louisville was supposed to come to Vegas, and they're not going to come now because they're going to at that Yum Center, which is such a great arena. They're going to, and it's right in the downtown area. They're going to kind of have their own bubble format there and try to play 3 or 4 games. But the best about college basketball right now is that the coaches, the rivalry coaches, I don't know if you've seen this. Mac has been calling out Coach Cal calling out Mac. Mick Cronin's guy that took over for him, John Brannon in town's been calling out Xavier to play not just once this year, but play twice.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the coaches have kind of gotten into, I think, trying to just hype the season because they lost a lot last year. They lost
yeah,
more.
they
That was
than
it. All
everybody.
stopped right at March Madness, right like 2 days before March Madness was going to start.
Well,
The best was it was Xavier and St. John's. They were playing. Remember, it was a morning game.
That's
yeah.
right.
No, it was
they
Creighton.
were right.
It was Creighton and St. John.
Creighton, or whoever, but it was the Big East tournament.
Yes.
They go into halftime. They don't come
Yeah.
back out. They canceled the tournament at halftime. That it was like classic. Someone said, I think they should just pick the game up by then and just play like the second half.
It was so surreal. Right,
Well,
pick it up.
I remember because I do stats for UNLV. So we got through our whole Mountain West tournament, and throughout the tournament, sitting there, masks weren't a thing yet, but there was talk, it was in the air. Is it our family is going to be allowed to come, and blah, 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 blah. And then that tournament ended, and the next day was a Wednesday, and you and I, Craig, were doing the free picks videos, and we had literally gone to a break, and I said, and we'll be right back with the NBA rapid fire. And our little producer guy comes in and he goes, NBA just canceled his season. And we were like, what do we do? Oh no. And then the next morning was the college basketball thing. And it took everything out. So I'm glad that there's crap talking. This league needs to make back some of the money. And I want a good season. I want my March.
I guess the NCAA has filed trademarks for bubble madness and terms that would make you think that they're at least know that this could be a possibility that come March Madness, they might have to go all 64 or say 232 teams. And then, kind of like the NHL did. So I thought that would be awesome. I mean, imagine if they did the whole tournament in a weekend or 2 weekends where they just play every day for 6 straight days.
Oh my gosh.
All day, every day.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it would just be.
Every business in the United States would need to shut down for a week, because if you think you lost your employees on Thursday and Friday, the opening day of the March Madness tournament, imagine if it started on a Monday and ended on or I guess you could start it on Tuesday, end on Sunday. Have games all day. No one would be at work.
No, nobody would.
So you guys, I just wanted to share a score with you here quickly. It's 11-0 for the Dodgers in the top of the first.
I took the over. I took the over 9.5.
Top of the first.
Crap!
Wow. Someone said, tonight I like the Rays tonight. I'm sorry, I like the Astros tonight, because I'm listen, a good team is hard to beat.
Yes.
Eventually, this Astros team, it didn't just beat nobody. I think the American League was better than the National League. They beat good teams to get to this point, and I just think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win 4 in a row and win this series. But I thought you were a Houston girl. You got to be on them tonight.
Look how I'm stewing over here. I've had to as soon as Nick got on the line with me before the show, I was like, did you see game 1, top of the 9th? Bases loaded, 2 out, or freaking double play to score 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4 balls to walk Altuve, 1, 2, 3, 4 balls in a row, now to walk Brantley. We get Bregman up. This dude has pitched 8 consecutive balls, and you're going to swing at the very first pitch? Have you lost your... I'm not over it. I am not over it.
Well,
nope.
they've
left 29 dudes stranded on base. How do you do that? I'm done. I'm done with the Astros.
I agree, but if you had Barry Bonds coming up, would you not say, dude, if this is your pitch, you go ahead and swing away?
Hell no.
Oh,
Hell no, I
come
would not.
on.
Not with 2 outs in the top. No. Heck no, I would not. You
The
watch
F-
a pitch go by. I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2. You just
The
threw
problem
8
is
balls.
the problem is if they go 2-0, then now you're playing you're as a batter you want to be playing offense, not playing defense. So
I was like,
I didn't have a problem with him swinging at it. I just had a problem. I had game 1 they played pretty well. I thought since then they have not played well. Altuve's been terrible. You know, I thought the Rays were a better team. They're definitely a better team. I mean, they've proven that. And now they have mental midget Zach Greinke. That's the problem tonight. I mean, this is the game he plays well, though. That's what I said in the video earlier today. He is one of those guys, when you need him the most, he's not there. Now this game means nothing. This series is over. They're not coming back. He'll come out and he'll pitch great, and then everybody will expect that next year, oh, he's big. No, he is not. There's a reason why the Dodgers traded him for very little.
right.
Good
I mean,
point.
I was telling Nick before this too. Like 3 seasons ago, when the Rays had Snell, Eovaldi, and Happ, I was all over them, you know.
Yep.
And then I realized a lot when Eovaldi, who was like a plus 165, plus 185 with the Rays, he goes to the Red Sox. Now all of a sudden he's a minus 210. Yep. That and same thing happened with Happ. Luckily, I still have Snell there to get my 0.85s with. It made me realize that pitcher is only worth like the team that he plays for. Kind of, you know, those numbers travel with the pitcher change. And so I've been all over the Rays for 3 seasons. I love the Rays. I am like all for them beating the Astros here. Like, go right ahead. And I think Major League Baseball could use a change. Like, we've heard Astros, Dodgers. We've heard it. We got it. You know, like Braves and Rays are young. They're up and coming. They're underdogs. And it would be like so 2020 for that to be our World Series, wouldn't it?
Not only did Major League Baseball want it because of the bigger markets to have the other teams win it, but think about the cheating Astros, and I'm sorry for your team, but the cheating Astros versus the Dodgers that they beat. I mean, it was like it was the made-for-TV ending that the Dodgers then beat them and show when they weren't cheating, you know, they are the better team. So, but I think the problem with the Rays has been they used to not be a public team. Now they're somewhat of a public team because they beat up on the Red Sox and the Yankees all year. So now they did become, and the A's are the other team. The Rays and the Rays and the A's, got to say that slowly, were 2 of the best teams to bet on in baseball the last 4 or 5 years. Because 1, they've been pretty good teams, but 2, they're playing a lot of public teams. They're playing the Angels, they're playing the Yankees. You play public teams, you get great prices. Well, now the Rays, you haven't been getting as good of prices because why? Snell won the Cy Young, so now he's not a secret anymore. And then 2, you beat up on the Rays and Yankees all year, so now all these big money bettors that's watched you beat their teams are now betting the Rays. So
I was telling Kurt the other day, I think I cash more Rays first 5s than I do any other bet that I make. Like Rays first 5 is just an auto bet for me because that's when they score and their pitching is so solid.
They have great starting pitching.
And you can usually get like that bigger minus number at a smaller minus number if you do have someone like Glasnow or Snell on the mound. You know, you can just get it.
Yeah, the Rays have a lot of left-handed starters and in their bullpen as well, and so that sort of matches up. To this point, has matched up well against Houston's primarily right-hitting lineup.
The other team, I mean, that series is over. The Rays win.
Yeah.
So the Braves, I mean, you're talking about Atlanta, huge market, but they're not a super public team. They're playing the biggest public team in baseball this year, the Dodgers, because they were so good this year. I mean, they were minus 200 almost every game, no matter who they played, no matter who was pitching. Now they're up. You know, is there any value left on?
Are you gonna hedge your Braves future with these Dodgers?
I don't think so.
Because, like, you could get the price right now at plus, I'm sure, right?
I'm not a hedge kind of guy usually.
Oh, that's right.
I
live to hedge. I had the Braves 155 yesterday. I just had to take them. The Dodgers plus 185. I just had to. It was there.
I mean, it's 200 at 15 to 1, I think. So, what's that? 3,000?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a ridiculous sum of money. If I was 30,000, then I probably would try to hedge out. But I got them to win it all, so now I would have to hedge it with.
Oh, with the will be the Rays,
Dodgers and the Rays too. So that's the problem. If we get past this, then you definitely could hedge out a little bit. Lay half of that on the other team, and you guarantee that you're going to have a profit. But to me, I think the Braves, they have the best the best bullpen left. I mean, their bullpen is so good, and their lineup.
They're so fun.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Braves that we all know growing up, it was all about pitching, and now they have good pitching, but now their bats are rock stars.
I was like breaking it down to Kurt actually last night that it's like the Astros have this vibe of like they're too old. They're the old guys and they're like trying to still stay cool and relevant. And then the Dodgers are like the cool kids who like have a lot of pressure to be like super cool. And the Rays are the businessmen and like they've got they've got a method to their madness. But the Braves shut up. But the Braves are like these rebels, you know, they're like these bad boys, young and energetic and just like take no prisoners kind of a team. And like, that's what I want out of my baseball team. You know, I'm all for that. They're exciting.
The Braves need to win this year because they've got several guys that are either going to cost them a lot to keep them. They're going to walk. So the Braves, they definitely hit it big on a couple short-term free agents. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see I think the Braves get by the Dodgers. I think it's going to be the Braves and the Rays, and two teams built pretty similar that, you know, they have really good pitching, good bullpens, and, you know, underrated offenses. If people don't watch the Braves this year, they don't realize the Braves have great offense. So.
Yeah, agreed. I think that would be a great matchup. Hey, Ali, I just wanted to say a comment over here on YouTube here, just by the initial R. He says Wyoming wins the Mountain West basketball top recruiting class this year.
Oof.
I could get, I mean, Wyoming, you know, I see them all play in person and they can be a nasty team. They can be when they come to all UNLV, but I don't think the Mountain West. Yeah, I can't agree with that.
That's
I don't know if you guys know who TJ Otzelberger is, but he's in year 2 with UNLV. I love that guy at South Dakota State. I made a lot of money on those Jackrabbits, all right? And now he's over here at UNLV, so I expect this. And his redshirt freshman, David Jensen is his name, gets to play this year. We've been waiting for him. And he's always on the sidelines. He's always sitting with the team, the basketball team. And I've had too much coffee today. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, he's riled up.
It was Boise State?
Yeah.
But didn't they lose the tournament, though? They got upset.
Yeah, no, SDSU was undefeated all season. Utah State won it again, didn't they?
They got upset. There was an upset in the tournament. I was in town.
Yeah, well, SDSU, they were undefeated all season, and they did not win, right? Now I have to Google
early,
this.
But then
Nick, Google.
But I thought it was, I forget who was in the final, but it was an upset. I remember that much.
It was Utah State. I want to say Utah State won it for the second time.
Well, to me,
with Brock Miller.
This is going to be the year for college basketball craziness. Yes. Because a lot of guys that would have been in the pros went early. They're playing in the developmental league for the NBA this year. Because, you know, with wasn't RJ Barrett, it was RJ Hampton that left and went to play in New Zealand, and Ball did it as well. Now the NBA said, all right, we're going to make the developmental league. So they started recruiting those kids that are the one and done. So I just think it's going to be a really, really good year of college basketball. You're not going to see the one and done guys, I don't think, quite matter as much. And I think you're going to see some really good basketball. I can't wait. When's the NBA draft? It's got to be any time, right? It's got to be like that's usually in June.
Right. I was reading an article about that earlier, actually, here.
It's got to be in the next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a weird, strange season it was in the NBA. It was a full calendar year from when they reported to camp until the end of the season started there. So,
what did you think, LeBron? I mean, I thought the whole respect thing. Like, I want my respect. I mean, I hate LeBron, but it's like, dude, you have the respect in the league. Everybody thinks you're the best. All these players, they want to go form super teams. Why? Because LeBron did it, and they think that's the way you go win championships. That's why I don't like LeBron James. That and he's from Cleveland.
Well, they call him. They literally call him the king.
Right.
How much more respect do you need than that?
Right. He just wants to be people to think of him as better than Michael Jordan. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? People in
This
our
wasn't a time
generation,
for to say that at all.
people in
Yeah.
our generation are never. He could go win 6 championships. People are never going to think he's better than Michael Jordan. They're just not. So that just winning in the bubble was not going to be the year that people are like, oh my goodness, you just won under the toughest circumstances. Let me just tell you, Jordan had to go through Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the Bad Boys. It's like there were
Karl Malone.
I mean, some of the best players of all time played in his generation and were good in his generation. Yeah, Karl Malone and them, they never won a
And
championship.
John
Why?
Stockton.
Charles
Yeah.
Barkley. Why didn't they win championships? The guy's name was Michael Jordan.
It's true.
I mean, listen, he's the second or third, maybe fourth best player. Who knows? I mean, when you're arguing that, who really cares if you're in the top 5 or 6? But to me, it was like, you just won a championship, not the time.
It was Utah State that won the Mountain
There you
West
go.
Championship. I was sitting there. That's where I was. I'm like, I watched someone get a trophy.
Oh.
Why don't I have this memory?
Hey, you were watching guys in tight shorts. That's the problem, Allie. Don't lie.
You know, I love all the cheerleaders, and my friend is like
Well, maybe that's
obsessed
the problem.
with
You're looking at the
cheerleader
wrong people.
ratings. So I get this piece of paper and I write, "Hi Spike." His name is Spike. So I write "Hi Spike" on it, and I go to all the little groups of cheerleaders and give them the sign and take their pictures. And it's like a thing I do. But dude, that Air Force cheerleaders are the coolest thing you've ever seen. Like those Falcons get spinning and throwing. It's like they're intense.
Hey, they don't call them Air Force for nothing.
That's just it. They're not the land force. They're not that. They're not
right.
that.
So we got to wrap this up. But like,
Yeah.
I would say this though for today's Wednesday. No Thursday NFL. That is
Bonkers.
Weird.
I
Very
thought-
weird.
if I was the NFL, and I'm not Roger Goodell, but I would have been like, listen, I know it's supposed to be the Bills Chiefs, I think it was. Listen, hell, what's the game we were talking about? Panthers Bears. Guess what? You're on Thursday night this week.
Yeah, deal
Right.
with it.
Like, I don't care you didn't have that much
It's a
time.
missed
Listen,
opportunity.
the Titans didn't get to practice until Saturday or something? Like they practiced 2 days in the facility and then came out and just won. So don't tell me it's not possible. And listen, it's
You gotta
$2
be
billion. $2 billion on the line in the NFL. We're going to do whatever it takes. But we do get 2 Monday Night Football games instead. So
Right.
I guess I shouldn't
Take it.
complain.
I'll take it. We got a weird Tuesday night game. Yeah, it's also 2020. It's all just bonkers right now.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, make sure you follow us and hit the
Hey,
bell.
that's my job. You bip, bip, bip,
Hey,
bip. That's
hey,
what I do.
I got
You're stealing my light.
I don't do 30 videos a week for nothing. So jump on board.
All right, guys. Well, that does wrap us up for the live cap today. Don't forget to join us on Friday at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's our new start time. We've got a load of college football to talk about on Friday. And don't forget to join us for Total Chaos on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Kurt Alexander and I are going to go through every single NFL game and a handful of college football ones and give you picks on the totals. We've been crushing that game. Thank you again to Craig Trapp and always
Thanks,
Nick
Craig.
Parsons. Guys, don't
Thanks,
forget
Ellie.
to like, subscribe, ring that bell if you want notifications so that way you'll never miss a free pick or a live video or just any amount of information we want to share with y'all. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Nick. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Ellie.